Yes, Athena, how are you, honey?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good. We have kicked off the first hour, 2 hours. Wow, look at that, 2 hours of
Wow.
CyberCon 2020. Only 54 more to go. Yeah.
I'm glad I
So
could
we're
have jumped
doing
in early.
we're doing good. So guys, I'm gonna hop off here in a little bit, but I want to visit with Athena for a minute. You just bear with us because we haven't seen each other. Con season is like been decimated.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
really
know.
sad. I miss everyone.
So I don't know if you heard. We'll share it with Athena, but we'll also share it with our audience again. For those that haven't heard yet, effective today, it was just reported San Diego Comic-Con has canceled due to COVID-19. So we're hoping that Comic-Con International brings us some other virtual opportunities. I know WonderCon did some virtual stuff, so hopefully San Diego Comic-Con will do that too.
We'll see. I mean, it's kind of scurrying around for everyone who's doing these conventions to figure out a way to get everybody connected.
Yeah, it really, really is. It's a scary time to be in any industry, but certainly in an industry that brings 100,000 of your closest friends into your proximity.
True.
So, so Athena, the next hour is all yours. You can talk about anything you want. Talk your head off.
What? I thought we were going to chit chat.
Okay, let's do that. Ignore those people. Look, CyberCon, you stick around. We're going to chit chat. How are you? How are things where you are, man?
I mean, it's chill, super chill, hanging out in the house, taking a walk when I can, doing some artwork.
I was going to say, any special art projects that you're working on?
I am working on something. It's secretive because it's a gift for somebody. So it's on the DL. But I did finish a piece that I posted
There's only
recently.
a few thousand of them. We won't tell. Okay.
I don't know if they're watching. That's why I can't say.
That's true. What are you guys doing to keep yourselves fit and active? And I know Rick's going to do an entire panel on, staying active during COVID this weekend for us. But what are you guys doing to keep yourself fit and active and things like that?
Well, just a lot of walking right now. I know that next week we're going to try to get more on a schedule as far as working out. It's been pretty cruel. I mean, it's been bad. You're so tempted to eat everything in the house because you're just sitting here watching TV or doing whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll just have a little snack. And then, by the end of the day, you've eaten like 15 times.
Yeah. I think we all, at the end of this experience, we're all going to walk by our own mirrors a little bit differently. Kind of with that little look of shame that you have when you walk by. You're going to look over at the mirror and go, it's not my fault.
Oh, I know. I won't even touch the scale anymore.
That's not my favorite part of the house anymore. Yeah. Oh, wow. So, so Athena, now I know a lot of our audience knows your name especially from Batman and Bill.
Right. I hope so. If you haven't seen it, you better go see it.
That's true. Wait a minute. This is a convention hall, technically online. If you haven't seen it, what? Really?
Yeah, I know.
I don't get that. But okay,
it's been out for several years. Most people have seen it, but if you haven't, it's on Hulu. It's Batman and Bill. It's a documentary about Bill and his connection with the Batman title, who is my grandfather. It has the writer, Mark Tyler Nobleman, who wrote the biography about Bill, and his journey on finding the family and, his campaign to get Bill's credit and bringing me into it. And not that I wasn't in it before, but he kind of pushed me back into fighting for the rights for Bill. And we were successful in 2015. So it shows the journey from beginning to end. So it's really good. The people who did the documentary have a lot of excellent documentaries that they've done over the years. So I feel very lucky that they were willing to do this project.
First of all, it's a phenomenal documentary project. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Bill Finger's story, it's a great beginning. It's a great education. And it's a great look. It's a peek, and not in a scathing way. I really want to stress that. It doesn't attack the industry, but it does show where holes in the industry have been throughout history. It shows you where people were left behind that should not have been.
Very true.
And it doesn't do it in a scathing way. This isn't like, hard hitting, go, because this is the industry that we all love. but it has done some, it has made some mistakes. And the fact that there are some of you who are comic book fans, who are comic book movie fans, maybe, or new property fans, that doesn't know Bill's name. And that is one of those corrections that Batman and Bill talks about, is making corrections to the record, so that we
Right.
can all
Well, I
celebrate
mean,
what
that
we love.
was a huge thing for me. I really wanted to make sure that the history of this character was correct. I mean, it was really an injustice to the fans for 76 years to only have one person's name associated and him taking credit, saying that he did everything when unfortunately, in reality, he did very little. Bob Kane was an artist, but he only worked on Batman for a very short amount of time and then just kind of rode on the tails of everybody else and
Yeah,
said
well,
that he
and this
did
is
it.
again,
It's like,
what I found fascinating watching Batman and Bill was, to later talk to you in person and talk to so many others in person. And at the time, the artist especially was seen more as a means to the end. And so here you go, here's your paycheck, sit down, do your thing. And then this guy is the guy that actually we're going to get credit for everything. This company is going to get the rights to everything. And the
right.
business really was, sit down, we own everything you do at that desk. And that sometimes included your name rights, to put your name on property. Like Bill's name did not get to be associated unless you were a diehard fan for years with Batman properties. And now I know it was one of the most recent Batman films that Bill's name actually finally appeared on screen.
Yeah. The first one was Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Um, his first television appearance was his official one through DC Warner Brothers was for Gotham. Although he did write one of the episodes for the 1960s Batman TV show, where he did get to see his name in the credits. So at least he got to see it once in his lifetime,
Yeah.
with his name attached to this character that he, basically built on his own. I mean,
Yeah,
being the
it
writer,
is.
you
It's
kind of
remarkable.
have to
Bill did so
imagine
much work to
everything.
give Batman every trademark trait that he has.
Oh yeah, he
And
um
uh,
he was the father of the Batman, basically. I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from Bob Kane because without his initial concepts that he went to, my grandfather was, we wouldn't have anything. So I don't want to take that away from him. And then, people are like, "Well, aren't you really mad with Bob Kane?" And yeah, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed in the fact that he felt the need to screw people over and be egotistical. But that was his nature. And, I didn't know the man personally, so I can't really have such negative thoughts towards him.
well,
It's
like I
like,
said,
yeah,
you
he
and
did
I,
this real
now we're out
crappy
at the
thing,
convention
but I
circuit. We talk to
mean,
people. We
well,
talk to people who have been in this industry, in and out of this industry for decades. And this was a thing that was done to quite a few in those early decades, especially the working artists, the real creators. You had the guy that thought
it's
it up,
true.
and the 12 guys that made it happen. And the 12 guys, not so much remembered. The one guy is. And so it's great. I think one of the things that Batman and Bill should do for our generation of artists is open their eyes to what they need to watch out for, as they enter their careers. To
Well,
make
that's
sure.
something that I've always recommended to people, not just artists, but I mean, anyone who is creative, because I mean, you can be an engineer, or you can be whatever. It's not necessarily just in the arts. If you do come up with an amazing concept and you want to do something with it, then you should protect it first. Then go ahead and pursue it, because if you pursue it before you protect it, more than likely someone's going to steal it. And that's pretty much the way it's been across the board in many industries. So just, I know it's hard being a creative person myself to be like, oh, well, I got to do all this legal stuff. And it's like, ugh, I don't want to do paperwork and like try to read contracts or figure out how to navigate the system that I know nothing about. But it is really important. And I know a lot of different states have artist councils that people can go to for advice, legal advice, help with the navigating a system that we're not so savvy with. and just take advantage of what's out there to help you protect your creations.
Absolutely. Now, moving from the legacy of Batman and Bill into your own artwork, you are what's because it's like I said, there's an art gene. I don't have it, but some people do, and you're one of them.
I was fortunate enough that I've always gravitated towards drawing and painting. It's something that I've always, I mean, I can't remember a time as a child that I wasn't doing something artistic. So unfortunately for several years, I didn't do any painting or anything. I kind of got looped into the whole adulting life. you know, I went back to
they all
college
make us do
late.
that.
I had a baby. I got married. Like true adulting stuff. But I got back into actually painting a few years ago, and I was a little rusty in the beginning. It'd been a while, but it's like riding a bike. Once you get back into it, you remember things, and I really love it. It's a wonderful outlet for me. So,
Do you have a favorite medium? A favorite medium to work in?
I paint. I
Paint.
work with acrylics mainly.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some oil painting. I've done some watercolors, but I really like acrylic. It's easy to work with. So
Now I know our CyberCon audience knows a lot when they see you at conventions and things. Your pop culture work. Do you have a favorite subject that you work with when you're painting? Is it
um,
is it mostly pop culture stuff? Is it other things? What do you like?
no,
What
it's
do you
pretty
enjoy?
varied. It's varied. I do a little bit of everything. Right now, I'm doing the one that I'm working on is a realistic piece. It's considered fine art. It's a landscape with portrait work.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just with the commission work, it's what the customer wants, and of course, a lot of the customers want the pop art stuff.
Yeah.
But even the last one that I did with the Rocky and Bullwinkle, it's not really, it's not a cartoon. It's a realistic moose and a real flying squirrel, and with purple mountains in the background. And
Very
if you
hard to
don't
find.
know Rocky and
It's
Bullwinkle, you
hard
might
to
not get it.
find. It's hard to find a flying squirrel. It's really hard to find a moose that'll stand still for long enough to get a portrait. Athena's done it all. And Purple Mountains, I know you sing about them, guys, but they're really hard to find. So, yeah. Do you when you is there a favorite? I mean, it's so much different art, and you do so much in terms of your subjects and things. Do you have a favorite subject? Do you like landscapes? Do you like
I really like
portraits?
flowers. I
Do you?
enjoy painting flowers.
Yeah.
The first ones that I did get back into doing was a tiger lily that I did with watercolor. Tiger lilies are one of my favorite flowers. Growing up, my mom was a huge gardener, so we had all these beautiful gardens all over our property, and tons of tiger lilies. If you don't know what they look like, they're bright orange with black spots. They're really cool looking. They're beautiful. They smell awesome. So I just that's one of my favorite pieces that I've done. But I mean, again, I kind of do a little bit of everything. The Rocky and Bullwinkle one I've been thinking about for a long time. Yeah, it's a cartoon, but I did it in a non-cartoon style. So, I try to, mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the artist's vision, right? Make something your own, make something that your audience is gonna see.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so I want to say hi to Lisa Duarte Williams in the chat, and our friends over at the Kilted Creature are here in the chat. They're going to be
Oh,
performing
yay. Hi.
at CyberCon, and Andy Frinkle and everybody who's in the chat. Terry McIver, Tim Harris. Thank you guys for being here with us today. Athena is joining us for our third hour of CyberCon. We opened up talking a little bit about Batman and Bill and Athena's artistic journey and of course, how things are going right now because we're all stuck at home. And Athena's
Yeah.
trying hard not to stay away from the junk food a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
You know what? You guys are pretty fit, though. You and Rick both are pretty fit people. How much junk food can there possibly be in you all's house?
I mean, we try not to, but we both have a sweet tooth, so I mean, we end up getting, ice cream or cake or something to have after dinner. But we try to keep it balanced. It's just hard,
Now, I just
being
want to
in
point
the
out for
house and
CyberCon that
not
those of
being
you who are
able.
not familiar with Rick Stafford and Athena Finger from the convention circuit, she says they try not to. I was there and saw the birthday cake. That was
You didn't see the slices of cake he
hard.
was giving out to people. He was like cutting like mounds of
He was
cake for
cutting it,
people. I'm
yeah.
like, do you really think people are gonna eat that much?
But I got a piece of cake that was half of Atlantis, I think.
I know, right?
But
Well, I guess it was doing that because we had to get rid of it anyways since we were leaving the next day to go out of town. So it's not like we could have a place for leftovers. The cake was really good though.
It was really, really good. What now? Everybody has a little something, especially in the artistic community, that they're really good at. They really enjoy doing, and that they knock it out of the park every time. And then they have that one thing that challenges them. My son does sketch work, and faces challenge him. He just has hard faces. What for you? What are what is the thing that most challenges you? Is it texture? Is it body? Is it landscape? What most challenges you?
The most challenging thing for me is to not compare my work to other people's work. How about that? Because I see other people's work, I'm like, damn, I want to be able to do that, but that's not my style.
What, I can see that, and we booted off the top of the hour, as so many have for years now. Where we were talking to Athena, we were talking about Bill Finger. And so, generationally, that already happens to you already in the beginning. And then you go home and do it to yourself with all these other artists that you see.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, they make it look so easy. And then I try to do it. I'm like, damn, I can't do it. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. You do a pretty good job. So, I mean, if something's wrong with you, then I'm really broken.
Oh, no. It's, the hardest thing is to not be so so critical of myself. But I mean, as an artist, we are always extremely hard on ourselves. We always see every single flaw when someone else comes along. It's like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't touch it. And you're like, but I need to fix this and that. And like, that's not quite right.
I want to thank Elvin Dossier for joining the chat. We are probably the last two people on planet Earth that will know the answer to your question, because we have no idea.
I don't work with Disney or Marvel.
Yeah. However, just for you, Elvin, if Marvel or Disney calls us and gives us that information, we will let you know.
Of course.
We promise. We also promise that they will not call us to give us that information. I'll speculate though and go, most profitable franchise on planet Earth ever? Yes.
Though I would think so. They'll probably just mix it up.
Yeah, but we wouldn't know the actual answer because first, we don't know those people. Even if we did know those people, I'm sure we would be like signed to silence or something. There'd be like men in black at our door making sure we didn't tell you the answer. But also because when Athena draws and paints in the pop culture universe, she generally focuses on the DC stuff. Do you have a Marvel favorite, Athena?
I do. Wolverine is my favorite. I've actually done this one image of Wolverine. It's the movie poster from the Wolverine solo film where he's got the claws in front of him. It's one of my favorite images. I've done it actually twice now. I tend to not repeat stuff, but that
kind of in comics really being raised around sort of the original sleuth anti-hero in comics, would gravitate. It stands to reason that you would gravitate toward another anti-hero. Also, by the way, because Athena is a beautiful woman, it also would stand to reason that she would gravitate toward Wolverine. Because
I mean, he's such an interesting character too. I mean, he really is conflicted with both sides, kind of like Catwoman. Catwoman is she's not conflicted. She knows how to manipulate it, but she plays both sides. So I guess I like people who don't pigeonhole themselves one way or another. They kind of look at the situation and assess what the best plan of attack is. So
I suppose, isn't that that's all of us, right? None of us can make claim to being evil or not, and certainly none of us can make claim to being perfect heroes by any means. So I guess it's
No,
all.
it's true.
Yeah.
But we do tend to get into our comfort zones, which is kind of being pigeonholed
Yeah.
into one way of doing things. We try to be diverse, but we get comfortable, right?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it is. I guess that's what brings us here, isn't it? I mean, we're all comfortable being out on the road together and seeing each other at conventions and things like that. And the world, again, nobody, just a thing out there in the world has forced us all home.
yeah, it's a strange time. It really is.
It,
But
it really
I
is.
think everybody's trying to make the best of it. I get to see my friends this way
I
virtually.
was gonna say I love our pop culture community because we built something entirely new just so we could do this.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It really is. It's
not a bad community to be a part of. Is, hey, you guys can't see each other anymore. Oh yeah, what?
challenge on.
That's right. It's on now. When this is all over, what are you most looking forward to at the end of hashtag safe at home life?
I just want to get back to work. Believe it or not. I'm supposed to be starting a new job at a new college that's opening up here in Orlando, and they've had to be very patient with the state since it is a new college and going through, the process of getting their college open. So I'm hoping by the time everything settles down, it will be time to get back to teaching and get back to that other passion that I have in my life other than just the artwork.
What do you teach specifically, Athena?
I teach mathematics, actually. So,
all right, you just broke my brain. You're an artist who does math.
I know I'm weird. I know. People are like, I don't get you, and I go, I'm sorry. I use my whole brain. I don't just use half of it. I know. Okay. I mean, when I went back to college, I wanted to get into teaching, so I figured, I should probably choose something that I'm good at, and I just happen to be good at math. And I was going to go into elementary ed, but I was like, nah, I don't want to do those other subjects. I just want to do math.
Just want to do math. All right. Yeah. Wow. So getting back to work after this is over with. Obviously, we look forward to seeing everybody in person and giving real hugs instead of virtual hugs.
Oh, yes. That will be nice to be able to see the con family and start getting back out there and seeing fans and all of that, of course.
And looking forward to seeing whatever secret thing she has on.
I'm going to have to wait until I'm in the middle of it right now. I will not post it until I know that they have received it. And then I will post pictures of it, but I have to keep it hidden for now.
That is absolutely awesome. Guys, we want to remind you here, we are going to be here for the next, I think we're out of the 53 hours-ish. We're going to be live streaming a variety of interviews and panels and discussion groups, as well as entertainment. We have music tonight from the Kitchen Killers live at 9:05. We also have Phantasmagoria coming up in a little while. They're going to read some poems and perform some fire dance. They do so much.
Wow, that's really cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. They're going to be here live at 8 p.m. Okay. Oh, look, she's got little things I can read.
Oh, awesome. She's on it.
Next hour at 5 p.m., we're going to be joined with Papa Dragon. That is a podcast, is it not? Yes. And there's 4 people in there. That's awesome.
Cool.
4 p.m., not 4 people. I don't know what I'm hearing. They're just talking. So we have, and then of course at 4 p.m. we have our voice actor panel. We're going to be joined with Marty Grabstein. By the way, you should fix that. Marty Grabstein from Courage the Cowardly Dog. We're also going to have Carrie Means from Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Austin Tyndall from My Hero Academia, which I am not familiar with personally. However, Cosplay Michael tells me it's awesome.
Cool.
And I have to believe that because he knows more stuff than I do. He literally does know more stuff than I do.
Okay.
So that's what we've got coming up, guys. We are here not just to have fun and visit with each other, though. We're here to raise awareness. We want you to know about the Center for Disaster Philanthropy's COVID-19 Response Fund. Every dollar that they raise goes into responding to the COVID-19 virus, whether it be providing PPE for local groups, whether it be ventilators for hospitals or just financial support for areas that are most in need. They have spent $1.5 billion since this started in communities all over the country. I just saw that article the other day. Thank goodness they shared it with me. I didn't. And so we are raising funds. So every dime that you donate, please let us know in the chat. If you donate to the Center for Disaster Philanthropy's COVID-19 response, that's a lot. If you donate to them, please come in the chat. Let us know that you did. Let us know how much. We're keeping a running tally. I have been voluntold that I will be being painted as the Joker if we raise $2,000 this weekend.
Wow.
Athena has seen me at cons. This is what I look like.
Yes.
I always have my coat. I always have my shirt. I always have my face. They're going
You're always so well put together. Yes.
They're going to paint me like
that's what a host of a show is supposed to be, is all put together. So
see?
Pull it off well.
And they're going to paint me as the Joker, and I have to just sit there and let them do it because it's Harley Quinn. What was I going to say? No?
Are you going to keep the goatee and do the Caesar painting over it?
Dina and Sage are actually in the middle of a brawl over whether we paint the goatee like we do the Cesar Romero, or whether I have to shave it. I'm waiting for them to work it out.
Wait, you don't get to say it? It's your face.
No. No, I as soon as they said they were going to paint my face like the Joker, I realized I have no say in anything. It is. I tell people all the time in my household, I do wear the pants. They belong to them, but I wear them.
Uh-oh, I can't hear you at all.
Oh, we lost.
They cut you off.
Yeah. Wow. Did you cut me off for real? We're hoping, again, we may have lost audio here. Athena, work it. Athena, if you can't hear me, no.
Well, I guess I'm solo now. So,
yeah.
Are you back? Can we hear you yet? No. So let me talk a little more about my process of getting Bill some credit here. If you haven't seen the documentary, then it was quite a long journey for Bill to get his name attached to the Batman title. So before I get into that, though, you should know that there's some big anniversaries this year coming up. Within Batman, we have Catwoman's 80th anniversary this year. And we also have another one of Bill's creations having their 80th anniversary this year. And that would be the Green Lantern, Alan Scott. I don't know if people are aware of that, but Bill did co-create the original Green Lantern character. And he is celebrating his 80th anniversary this year also. And that is pretty awesome. Catwoman is one of my favorite characters I had mentioned earlier. So I'm super excited to see what's going to happen with her 80th anniversary issue and things like that. So I know some great art is going to come out with that. And so Bill did create Catwoman. He felt that, Batman needed to have some kind of love interest. So he came up with the Catwoman and Selena Kyle to kind of, tug at Bruce Wayne, Batman's heart a little bit. And she's done a pretty good job. And as we now know, she's pregnant with his child. So we'll see what happens with that and how that story is going to play out. And if they're going to have a little boy or a little girl. I'd like to see them have a little girl. See what happens with that. I have no say, but it would be interesting. So, but Bill came up with a lot of the characters for Batman. So he came up with Commissioner Gordon. He helped create the Penguin. He collaborated on the Joker. He wrote the first Joker story. He came up with Clayface, the Mad Hatter, Riddler. Wow, so many that I can't even think of right now. Wow, I can't think of any others right now, but so many. I'm sure you guys can tell me, but he came up with the backstory for Bruce Wayne and why he became Batman. and he also, came up with city, Gotham City. He he actually used the phone book for a lot of these things. He had opened up the phone book and saw, I believe, Gotham locksmith or something like that, and used that as the name of the city. Although in the beginning it was not Gotham. Everyone thinks that it started in Gotham, but really it started in New York City. That's where they were located. And aw, I love you too, Rick. Thanks. uh, they were all from the Bronx, so they used what was around them. And the first, few Batman stories took place in New York City, and then it switched over to Gotham City. Um, Batman in the beginning also didn't have the Batmobile. He drove a regular car, and it was a convertible. It was a little hot rod, but he didn't have the Batmobile for quite a few issues until the 40s is, I believe, when the Batmobile came into play. And he carried a gun for a while, and there's been such controversy over that. Um, you know, and why he doesn't carry one anymore. The backstory for that is, comics were written for kids. They weren't written for adults, so they didn't want kids to see violence with guns, I guess. I mean, it was kind of silly considering they had like comics of the war, and I don't know. But whatever, they didn't want kids to see him using guns, so they changed it, and now he doesn't use guns. But that's been kind of, I don't know, used in a lot of different things. Not so much in the comics, but like in the movies, he's used guns. People don't make such a big fuss about it, but I don't know. I guess because it's not a handgun. But we'll see what happens. Um, he also didn't originally fight all these great characters or villains that he has now. In 1939 was, the mobsters of New York City and the mob running the city. And so that's, what they were using as their villains at the time. So a lot of changes were brought to the character, just pulling from, what was going on at the time and their surroundings. And then they were able to, elaborate on that and make it more colorful, and not so much with color, but I mean colorful in the storylines, and a lot more interesting as far as where they were and the way the dynamic of the city was, and crime alley, and having Bruce Wayne on the outskirts of the city with his huge mansion and things like that. So Bill was very particular with his writing, so he wanted to make sure everything was, you know, very laid out for the artist. He would leave clippings and references and things like that, and how the panels should look as he wrote the stories, and what he was going for with the story. So he was really detailed, which was awesome. Makes it a little easier when you have it all mapped out for you when you're trying to draw these stories out. So. Um, so as we know, he wasn't credited back in the day, so he just worked, and he would take the work wherever he could. He did finally get hired on at DC and left Bob Kane Studios, and he worked for DC for a long time. He worked for them for 25 years. He also worked for Timely Marvel. He worked for other smaller ones that are no longer in company. They got gobbled up by either DC or by Timely. Cindy's asking if I have any of the old manuscripts. I do have one manuscript. It is not a Batman story, though. To get sidetracked for a moment, I'll tell you the story. When I first came to DC, and I kind of explained again who I was and things like that. I was invited up to the office in New York City when they were still in New York City. This was back in 2008. And Paul Levitz was still running the company at that time. And he was giving me a tour of the office, and then he showed me his office. He had quite an extensive collection of Batman stuff because he worked on Batman, as so many have. And so he said, "Listen, I have a gift for you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I wasn't expecting that, but okay. And he handed me a manuscript, and he said, "Listen, this is the very last manuscript your grandfather submitted to DC Comics before he passed away." And so it was for their strange stories. It was about marionette puppets that were like Dracula and Wolfman and Frankenstein and stuff, but they were not just puppets, they were actually living beings, but they were miniatures. And it's a weird story. But it was the last script he ever gave to DC, and that's the one that I have now. And I was blown away that he had that. And I am so thankful that I have it in my collection now. So that's my story about that. I know everyone's like, "Oh, too bad it's not a Batman," but I can't be picky. So, um, let's see. Now, the other question that is, what are challenges were faced getting Bill his credit for Batman? Well, the biggest challenge was that everyone kept telling me that it was never going to happen. My grandfather didn't pursue it, but his son, my father, did pursue it and tried to get Bill's name attached for a long time, with you know, no resolution before he passed away. My dad passed away in '92. So just shy of my 16th birthday, this whole thing kind of fell in my lap. And, I was again told that, it's not really something that I might, want to pursue. It would take a lot of time, it would take a lot of money. It's just not going to happen. They fight every step of the way. Like, it's just not going to be worth it. So you might want to just leave it alone. It wasn't until 2007 when Mark Tyler Nobleman approached me about the book he was writing about my grandfather. He was like, "Come on, you really need to, you need to pursue this now. It's time." So I was, hesitant at first. I had to overcome some of my own personal pain and issues around doing this. Again, losing my father at such a young age really was painful, and knowing that my grandfather was not credited and that I wasn't 100% guaranteed that this was going to be resolved, and that it was gonna be a lot. It was gonna be a big task. So, I didn't really start doing anything until 2012 when The Dark Knight Rises came out, and that's when I really started to legally pursue what needed to happen. They wanted me to sign my rights away, so I wasn't going to do that, obviously. And so 2 years later, we come to the 75th anniversary in 2014. That's really when everything kind of went into full gear. Fortunately, my sister is an attorney and was able to navigate a lot of the legal stuff for me. So um, she knew which avenues and who to connect with to help us get Bill his credit. So that was a lot to overcome, and you know, having some of these other artists get the recognition. I know that the Jack Kirby case was a huge case that kind of helped Bill get his case resolved as far as getting the credit. So, I mean, a lot of things fell into place for me because of the timing, but it that didn't make it easy. We still had to do a lot of back and forth, a lot of, um, you know, figuring out the best approach uh, for both sides to come to a resolution with this. So, can't talk too much more about the details. I'm not allowed to. So, but the first thing that was resolved was Bill getting his name attached as the byline. So that was the big thing. We got him the credit, and we were able to let the fans know the true history of Batman and who these wonderful creators were, and that it wasn't just this one person who did everything. It really was a lot of people who involved and still involved with the Batman title. So I have a couple other questions here. Let's see. What has been the best part of for you personally in the Batman universe? The best thing for me personally, I would have to say, is coming into this culture, not being part of it. I didn't really read comics as a child or a young adult or anything like that. Um, I didn't know what to expect coming into this culture. You know, I really was at a loss. So when I did go to my first convention in 2014, it was a Wizard World in St. Louis. I was blown away on how accepting the fans were and how eager they were to have a connection with Bill and to just have someone there that they can say thank you or tell their experiences to, or just talk about Batman with somebody. It's just the fans are amazing. They really are, and I am so appreciative of them, because without the fans, we wouldn't be celebrating these anniversaries, these big anniversaries. I mean, I don't think my grandfather ever thought that Batman was going to be around for 80 plus years. I mean, I don't think any of these creators really thought how long their creations were going to be around and still relevant and loved to the magnitude that they are. So that's really been the best part, is being able to share these experiences with people who really are true fans and very thankful for what Bill did. So, all right, Hank has a question here. As the granddaughter of such a legendary creator, do you feel any pressure to live up to the legacy that Mr. Finger left behind in your own creative endeavors? Well, first of all, Bill was a writer, and I'm not a writer. I don't pretend to be a writer in any way. But people do ask me all the time, are you going to do a comic? Are you going to do a Batman comic? Are you going to do your own comic? Are you going to do something? Um, maybe, maybe in time. I mean, I don't feel like I have to live up to his legacy, and I don't think people are expecting me to live up to his legacy. It's two very different mediums that we worked in, and that I work in. So I want to be able to honor his legacy properly by coming out and talking with the fans and telling his story, and just being part of the culture. I mean, in my own creative endeavors, I'm pretty rough on myself, so I don't need to. I try not to listen to everybody else because I'm really rough on myself. So I have to live up to my own expectations, I guess, because I've always been received really well by the people who see my artwork. So like I said, I tend to be really rough on myself. So. Terry asked me, are you working on any original characters in the DC universe? No, because I don't work for DC. No, not creating any characters of my own. That's not really my thing. I kind of, I don't know. I kind of do my own thing. DC they do their stuff, and I do my stuff. So no creations. You're welcome. So, thank you, Cindy. I love doing my artwork. It's a lot of fun. So, um, going through the process of getting Bill his credit, we did finally get that resolved in 2015. So it's been almost 5 years, believe it or not. I can't believe how time is flying by here since Bill's name has been added. So here's a trivia question for all of you. Other than the 1960s TV show where Bill did write the 2-part series for the TV show, does anybody else know where Bill got credit before Gotham? Anybody know? At this time, Gotham was a Monday night show, and that was supposed to be the first appearance of Bill's name. But somebody beat him. I've talked about it before. Nobody? Nobody knows? It's a show that's on Adult Swim. That helps at all.
Does anybody know the answer? Athena, can you hear us?
I can't hear you, Garrett. You're completely silenced over there.
Okay. The audience can hear. I know Athena can't hear right now. It's a connection thing.
All right, I'm not getting any responses. So, oh, you want me to drop out and come back in? Okay, I guess I'll do that. I guess when I come back, I will tell you guys.
Ooh, I love the teaser.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. I love it. Athena Finger, when she returns, you get the answer to that question. Guys, where was the first place that Bill Finger received credit? That's the question Athena had to drop and come back. So to all of you out there, where is the first place pre-Gotham? Gotham was the first place that he was supposed to get screen credit, but where did Bill Finger get the first credit? The answer is with us now. So stay tuned in. Here we go, guys. Here's Athena Finger. The question.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, that's right. The question of the day for all of you in the chat room, all of you watching live, is where was the first place, aside from the 60 TV series, where's the first place that Bill Finger received on-screen credit? It was supposed to be Gotham, but somebody beat them.
We have 2 correct answers here.
Really?
Yes, it was Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken.
Seth
I did not
Bean
know
is
this, by the way.
Huge fan. I have so much respect for him. There's a picture of him wearing a Bill Finger button before Bill got credit in San Diego for one of his panels. So he he beat them to the punch. But you know, Cartoon Network is part of Warner Brothers, so it's not like he did anything to like step on their toes. So they're all within the same company. So that's probably how he got away with it. But yeah, it was on Robot Chicken. And since that show comes at midnight, which is technically Monday, the day that it could be released, he did his DC superhero episode that particular night, and he put Bill's name in the credits as far as honoring him and getting credit and everything. So yeah, it was.
I know we're wrapping down.
Very good.
Yeah,
that was Terry.
Who was the winner? That we'll give you a prize. I don't know. We don't have any prizes. Never mind. But
well,
we will acknowledge Hank Murdoch Jr. and Terry McIver. Wow, yes. Awesome, guys. Great job, guys. We're wrapping our hour just about here, guys. But what I do, I had one more question and I lost it. It was in my head. It's right there. It's right there.
Oh.
I know where it is. No, I actually want to ask this because this, so because we're talking about those first, the Robot Chicken credit, the Gotham credit, then of course Justice or Batman v Superman. You know, after all the struggle and all of the, you know, the behind the scenes and everything, what we know about from Batman and Bill, what we don't know about because it's classified top secret under,
yes,
you know, pain of the Men in Black will come and get you. After all of that pain and all of that struggle and the joy of it all, when do you remember? When's the first time you saw Bill's name? And what were your first thoughts? When's the first time you personally saw it? Not knew what was happening, but saw it yourself and went, yeah.
As far as having the byline,
yeah. When's the first time that you saw it?
It was in the movie. At the time, I didn't watch Gotham. It was the first season. I wasn't really into it at that point. I didn't pick it up until I think the third season. So the Dawn of Justice was very interesting. That premiere was interesting. I had done quite a few before that. And, you know, when you go to these, you know, red carpeted premieres, a lot of people are clapping and hooting and hollering in the beginning when you see the opening credits for all the different people who, you know, the production companies and this company and these people and that people. For Batman versus Superman, you could hear a pin drop.
Wow.
It was so bizarre. I was like the only one in the audience that like clapped when I saw the name. I was like, oh, I better stop.
So for a minute there, Athena's like, am I not supposed to do that? Wait a minute.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was very, very surreal because I thought everyone was going to be like, yeah, you know, finally. No.
Well, you know, that's one of those things, right? Ooh. It's one of those things, though, where it had been wrong. And it had been wrong for so many years that there was a whole audience that didn't know what right was.
Well, I mean, they didn't even do like the hooting and hollering for the people before that in the opening credits too. It was just
nobody
weird.
got it.
I was just like, what's going on here? Like, why is it so quiet?
I mean, am I here by myself? Am I alone in this theater?
Yeah, it was just odd.
Wow.
It really was. And then I was like, you know, yay, Bill, yay.
I'm waiting for Steve Rogers in the back there to say, shh, down in the front. Yeah. Athena, thank you for spending some time with us. We really, really, really do appreciate it. And we miss seeing you. We can't wait to see you and Rick again up the road.
Really soon.
Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us.
This is a lot of fun.
We our next folks are in the lobby as they're supposed to be. Wow, what a deal. This thing is running like clockwork. You were here, now they're here. I don't know. I don't even know if they need me. I mean, because this is running.
Yeah, they need you though. Come on.
You know, I like to think so. I'm gonna pat myself just in case they don't. All right, Athena, thank you for hanging out with us, hon. We really do appreciate it. We will see you up the road. Normally, we like to visit afterwards, but I don't get to do that because I'm on live.
That's all right. We'll talk soon.
That's right. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much. Athena Finger has been spending the last hour with us. We talked Batman. We talked Bill. We talked art.
We talked everything.
We did. That's what we do. Welcome to CyberCon, everybody.